Hey YouTube, Mike the Rinnai guy here. How we all doing today? Hope we all had a safe and productive week and we installed a lot of those Rinnai tankless heaters. Alright, today's video is going to be on the water servo valve. Now, I did videos on removal of the valve. I did videos on removal of the filter and filter actually housing or plug, however you want to call it. But this one is actually probably one of my top service calls and quite a few comments and questions about it. Now, it's funny because when I started this channel about 2.5 years ago, I wrote up an agenda and I wrote up about 60 videos. And then I'd add to those videos. Well, I never took into consideration the amount of questions on one topic, like removal of the filter. I got a ton of questions on it. So that wasn't either in the line of what I was doing or even a video yet. So, you know, it's like I probably do one of the agenda videos per 3 questions. So today's question, like I said, is I get a lot of comments and a lot of emails on. And that's when nothing is happening with the tankless. Now, you know, and we have mentioned this numerous times, you get codes, like a code 10, air issue, code 11, ignition, code 12, flame failure. Well, what happens when, you know, you wake up, you turn water on, or someone calls you up for a service call and they say, hey, my tankless is not working. Okay, is it beeping a code? No, it's doing nothing. It still says 120 or whatever the temperature was set. It's doing nothing. And I'm running the water for 10 minutes and it's still ice cold. Okay, what that problem is yes, it could be a problem with the PC board. It could be a problem with one of the other controls, but about 90 or better percent of the time, it is the, let me find the piece that I actually have disconnected. I'll find it. Where is it? It's one of these. It is the water turbine valve. There we go. So it is this valve right here. This is the water turbine. This is the water servo valve. And I had a video on removing it, you know, how to take it out. Remember, it's mated to the inlet water that has the filter on it. It's mated to that. There's one screw that holds it in. We're going to go over that. And then 2 screws that clamp these together. And then there's the mixing valve in the front. Well, on the bottom of this, and this is on the older model only. So this is like the V and the R VC series. They're removable. Now, that is the part number right there. Again, everything will be in the description below. But it's a 107-000088. Again, who the heck makes up those numbers? And it's called the water flow turbine. So basically what it is, it's this little device right here. And if you blow into it, you're going to get like when you were a little kid, those little whistle things. It goes zzz, you like that? Zzz, and you'll hear it. What happens is this gets something inside of it. A little pebble, some dirt. Here in Florida, it's this coquina, which is crushed shell. And they mixed it in with the concrete, and it just gets into the water mains and gets into and aggravates everything here. So basically, where it is, it's in the bottom of this water servo valve. And again, this is the piece. So this is where your cold water is coming up into. There's your water filter right there. You have your O-ring. You have one, which is a holding screw, which you're gonna, once you put this in, that's what one screw gets it like in place. And then and of course this motor, and we're gonna show the motor. I have one off and I'll show you how it works. This motor is facing the back of the tankless. So you're the back of the tankless and it's mated up just like that. And then as you can see, the screws right there mate between that and that. This screw right here is a shorter M4 These are the two longer. So when you remove this, you put them in your magnetic tray, just remember, you're going to need the short screw first to get up into here. That's going to center it through the housing. Again, go back in the video on changing a water servo valve. Then the two longer screws go through here. So, removal of this thing, and I already took it out because it's a Dickens. Now, they say that when it's still mounted in the unit, so it's mounted in the unit, still has the mixing valve on, still has the heat exchanger connected to it, you can get up underneath this and remove this retaining clip. That retaining clip is basically holding this water servo valve, this water turbine valve in. And then there is one of these, it's a fiber washer that is in there. When you buy one of these water flow turbines, you're going to get a new washer. And it'll come out with a knife. But this thing, I have tried it every which way. The pipe's in the way. You have to remove this out of the housing. You have to take it out. Because then you got to get in there and get this thing removed. And then once you remove it, as you can see, it comes right out. Then you're going to fiddle with what's in there. Now, on the newer models, like this one right here, let me find the one that I've already removed. Yep, this one I already moved the washer. You can't remove it. So, what do you need to do? Well, with my eyesight, so a lot of times my son could see it, but I have a small pair of the jeweler's glasses, and I take a paper clip. Just take a paper clip and get in there, and you can actually see what's causing the turbine not to spin. And then just get it moved, get it out, little air, spray bottle of water to keep it wet, and then you could pop it out. Most of the times it'll come out. If it's just, say, dirt, before you even do anything, when you get there, pop the relief valve constantly, a couple of times, fast. Because what that does is it moves the water in this, because water will still get by it. It's not spinning the water turbine, which in turn, the water flow sensor is picking that up. So if that's not spinning, this ain't picking it up, and it's not firing the tankless. Because remember, with this turbine, the more water you flow downstream, the faster this thing spins, the more this picks it up, then the more that the water servo valve opens to allow the water to get through, the burner to ramp up to go from low to high fire. So, you're going to get in there. Now, but a lot of times by popping that relief valve, you move like small, very fine particles of dirt. It has worked for me a few times, but most of the time you have to take this out. And if you have the older model, you can pull this out. So now it's in your hand, and then you can fiddle, because you can basically see, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but you can almost see right through it. And you can get in there with the paper clip, because a paper clip fits in there perfectly. Don't use a punch, don't use an awl. It's going to bend the little turbine in there. Just get in there with a paper clip. Very, very, I put the flashlight in my mouth, I got little jeweler glasses down, and I sit there like a jeweler doing a diamond. That's what you have to do. Then when you're done, just put it back in. Let me find the right one. Here we go. Nope. What am I doing here? Oh, it's right here. Put it back in. Now again, you're going to have that raised part that has kind of like a ledge, and then you have the back piece, which is actually just a little plastic clip, because once they push that in, it clips in, so that it's kind of like a shaft. Just remember that the little ledge raised part is what's going in, and it drops right in. And this is an old water servo, so you can see how easy it fell in, and then you're going to pop the washer back in. Now, again, have one. So look at that, it's in. with the washer. It's in. Now, of course, you got to put the clip back in. And then the clip, you just actually, oh, let's see. Get this, make sure we're seated. Yep, we're seated down. And then the clip, you just got to kind of manipulate it in there. And you just got to kind of work it in all the way around. I keep, you see how I'm doing it? I keep my thumb over this thing so it doesn't become a projectile. And now I'm lost in the grass. And then just push it in, and that's it. It's in there. That puts it back in. So, now, what does this thing entail? Well, here's the water. This is the water servo valve. This is the motor. Now, I have taken this apart because we had to replace it because some vermin got in there and chewed the wire up. So basically, this is alignment screws that's going to align this up, and that's how it goes on. There's 2 screws that hold it in, one there, one there. They're M4 with a lock washer on it, and that's what's going to go in to tighten up this. There should be no reason you're going to take this apart, because if you have a bad water servo valve where now dirt has gotten in and messed up the motor, it's going to come with all. It's going to come with the wire, it's going to come with the motor, it's going to come with everything. But you can see here what the motor does is it moves out this gear, brings it out and brings it back in. That's how it modulates itself. So when you're gonna get a water servo valve, this is what you're gonna get right there, just like that. You're gonna have 1, 2. You're not gonna get this. You're not gonna get this. Okay. This is the water flow sensor, and this is a heater, ceramic heater, which I'm getting more and more parts pack out here. Now this is for an RL unit, but this one goes in the cold water, this one goes in the hot water, and then it gets connected to the freeze protection. So this actually heats up in a freezing condition. So you're gonna have to take this out and put it back in. And basically, let me see if I can do it with this here. Basically, you're just gonna take this off. It's that screw, and it also holds that in. So you put that in, it goes right into, you see, it's got a little groove. It picks up the vibration of the water turbine. And then you just screw that right down. And this actually holds the ceramic heater in. Now, let me show you a cold water side, the hot water side. This has a thermistor, which is a temperature sensor, but on the newer ones, on the RL series and on the Sensei series, you're going to have this, which is 2 ceramic heaters that wire all into the freeze protection. So that is what you're going to look at. So again, let's find the one that I've been futzing with again. Here it is. So we're going to remove the clip. Going to remove the clip. You're going to remove this washer. Let me get my needle nose pliers, because that works a little bit better. Because once you got the clip removed, you'll remove the water flow servo valve. Excuse me, the water turbine valve. And you have your washer. Again, when you buy this product, you're going to get a washer. And this is $5.99. Supplyhouse.com. Again, everything will be in the description below. So that is your water turbine. And then, just to give you an idea, these are the, let me just find the other screw. There we go. So you're going to have one screw like this. This is the short screw that holds the water servo valve between the chassis of the tankless to hold it in. Don't tighten this up all the way because you got to be able to move that water servo valve back and forth. And then these here are the two screws that sandwich the water servo valve with the, you see, you got to be able to move this around a little bit in order to get, and remember, you're working underneath the tankless with this thing. So there's one screw, here's the other screw, and that's where the long screwdriver or the M8, let me get this one in so you can see it. So that's how it's going to look. That screw right there is what's holding it from the actual carcass. And then these two screws sandwich them together. So all three of those screws are below the tankless. Again, go in the video. You'll see the whole thing about removing this unit. But that's the way the screws will look. And you can get a socket or a Phillips, and they're aluminum. Okay. All right, this Denco silicone grease. This is the grease I keep inside, excuse me, inside of my service bag. And I just got this from my service bag here. This is the grease that I use. It's actually faucet grease. It's good for any type of rubber, O-ring, neoprene, ceramic. It's good for everything. It lubricates the cartridges. But I use this to lubricate, say, the O-ring. Here, let's get this apart again. It's good to have it for all the different O-rings. So before I put this back in, with this O-ring, I'll put a little bit of the grease on there. I'll put just a little bit of the grease on the O-ring here for the filter. For the heat exchanger O-rings, I'll put a little bit of this grease on. It works very well. I've bought this one because it's a smaller tube. You don't use a lot. I used to carry a bigger cup, which was a Hercules grease made by the Hercules Chemical Company, but it was larger. And this thing fits perfectly inside our service bag. So, that's that. All right, I want to show you this product because we actually used it yesterday. Now, I bought this thing so that we could charge up or run electrical. Let me grab a Milwaukee battery. Okay, this product is the Milwaukee 2846-20 Top Off. It is 175 watt, like an inverter, power supply. It has 110 volt, and it has both USB ports, the small and the large. I forget what they call, but it's got the large port and the small port. And basically what it does is it mates up to an M18 battery. All right, this I'm using a 9.0. And when you flip that, it turns that light on for the 110 volt. When you flip that, it'll turn on for the USB. Now, great, all well and good. But I want you to go onto my Instagram channel. And I'm going to leave my Instagram channel below, the Rinnai Guy Mike. What I did was when we do tankless services with the pump system, and we do external units, so units that are outside the house, there is never a plug within 50 to 100 feet of that tankless. Unless we did it and I put the plug in, it's hardwired into the house. So what do we got to do? We got to pull off every friggin' inch of extension cord off the truck, plug it into like the front or back porch, plug the pump in, and run the thing and take all that crap out. Then I bought the big DeWalt power supply. That big, weighs like 30 pounds. It has 4 DeWalt batteries in it. And I mean, it runs my threading machine, my Rigid 300. I can thread 2-inch pipe with it. I have a video on my Instagram, same thing. Well, thinking, oh my God, well, let's try this. Guess what? It worked perfectly. Now, the video that's on there is an interior model, which we had a plug. But we did 6 tankless services yesterday. 5 of them were outside. So we had 2 houses with 2 each, one on either side. Then another house with 1, and then we had the 6th one was an interior one. But every time we went, I was talking with the owner. I forget to video it, so I videoed, and it ran all 6 tanklesses, 2 bars of battery, and it ran the pump perfectly. Just took this thing, put it on top of the tankless, because that cord is very long, plugged it in, turned it on, put it on top of the tankless, boom, it turns the pump right on, flowed the thing for 30 minutes, perfect. Didn't have to, no cords, no massive power supply. This thing just sits in my truck. And I thought it was a great thing to show for you techs out there that do the services, especially when you do them for the exterior models. Okay? So I'll include, and it's $99. $99. Unfortunately, for you out there that drink coffee, it will not work like a small coffee machine. It won't. It pops off. It flashes. But it'll run laptops, cameras, everything. Plus, it'll charge a 12-volt battery. So if you have an 18-volt, you need 12-volt to be charged. It'll charge 12-volt batteries. But, man, it worked perfectly for an exterior model tankless to do the service on. All right. So, again, everything will be in the description below. I hope you enjoyed the video. For all of you out there that asked this question, I hope this was helpful. Again, thank you for all of the subscribes, the likes, the comments. Hit that little button so it'll go ding-a-ling every time I post a video. But like clockwork, there's a video every Saturday. Okay, YouTube? You all be safe out there, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye now.